Yes, friends. In this next video, we want to discuss with a different macro, different functionality. So we have to clear idea about the different macro. We have to go for the shortcut key. Now we call for the button. So we have to use this button. On the button with this macro, we want to use this. Now in this macro, first we will select the some part of data. This is Control C, and we will select the data or select the data and Control B. So we have to paste the data, right? Now we have to go for the conditional formatting with the macro and go for the particular sum with this macro. Now, using of this macro, we will use the button also. So now we will check the button formula. So we have to clear idea. Control page up and page down. This is the shortcut key to go for the different sheet. So now go for the last number of sheet, control page. Down arrow key, and your cursor is here. View, macro, record macro, macro number one. Then this workbook. This is only for this workbook. Description. This is color macro. Okay, this value. If I'm apply this value, I have to first is border this value, thick border, then bold, italic, underline, Arial, font color, font name, right? So we will give this different image with using of macro. Now we will have a stop recording. Now in this macro, we will not give any shortcut key. Now you can use this macro, insert, shape. This is a shape. This one is your shape. For example, right click, assign macro, macro one. Okay. Now I can click here. This macro is work with the button. So you can apply the button with this macro and you can work it easily. If I am using this one, color macro, this will be working. So make sure that this all the functionality is working. On the basis of you can use the color macro, right? In this next, if we will use the total value, same as it is a button. Here we have a three totals and we can work these totals. Record macro, macro number two, and okay. If the value is auto sum, for example, auto sum this value and enter this value. Shortcut key, right click, assign the macro, macro number two, okay. So some value is automatically working. Now you can see that sum, average, minimum, maximum with using of button is also working. So now we have to clear idea. Macro is a basically two parts. First is a button macro and second is a shortcut key macro. So you can use this macro on the shortcut key as well as button macro. On the both the places, it will be convenient and it will be considered from your side. So make sure that button macro and shortcut key macro, both the macro, you will be use this macro. Using of this macro, we will use the button and shortcut key macro. So you can use this macro. This is H3 to H27. Now you can see here H3 to H27 is a particularly H2 is missing. So make sure that if the value is missing, then some this is working. So make sure that in this macro only work with the position, nothing else. But position is matter. If I am placing, write down, edit text, and if I am write down submit, right click, assign the macro, macro number 2, and OK. Here to submit this value. So if you write down, if anything in the button, in the it's called as a shape, you can add this. So macro with adding of the button macro, with or adding of the shortcut key macro, you can use this value, right? So if you are using this value, you can add it, update, delete easily from this value. So you can add this value. On the basis of submit value, we can do the different functionality. So make sure that we have to add submit button. Submit button on the basis of the submit button, we can add the this value. Now, if we will use the conditional formatting with this macro, so we have to clear all format. If the clear all formatting is clear. If the clear all content is clear. If the clear on comment is clear. If no any comments, clear or hyperlink clear all the values clear. Now we will use the clear format only and use the apply the border. Now you have to clear idea about this. Why we give them border also. So we have to give them border. Now I want to use this border. On the basis of this border, we have to use the conditional formatting with the macro. So we will use this macro on the basis of the macro. We can do the anything. By applying this value, we will use the date, how to add a date. So we can add the value. For example, if I'm writing here 6/12/2021, go for the fill series. In fill series, we have to only using number value only, right? Autofill value. Now we will use the date, day, weekday, month, day. This is only step value and okay. You can see that 13, 14, 15, 16 is coming from that side. Now we will go for the fill series weekday. Coming from the weekday, this is not a step value and stop value. This is coming from the month. This is coming from the year 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. You can use this value on the basis of this one. If you want to use the day, the serial number, right? You can use the text functionality also. This is date, month, year. If you use the date, month, year, and day functionality, you can use this functionality. You can see here date functionality on the next year's June 12th is a Sunday, next Monday, Wednesday, one day is upping from this side. 2014 is a Tuesday, right? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Value it will be changed or the basis of this one, the value will be changed. You can put this value. So we have to clearly idea about this one. Now we want to clear this one. This is a date formatting is coming. For example, if I am putting here conditional formatting, CON formatting, okay. Conditional formatting on highlight the value is greater than this value if the greater than of this value is 500, 5,000 plus 50,000 plus, but this is a text value. So I think that this macro is not using from text value. We can using sales plus text. We have to select some value, can go for the view, then the view for the record part. This is macro number 4. You go for the conditional formatting. Highlight the cell rules greater than. If this greater than value is 5,000, 50,000 plus, then it will be highlighted. Then stop this recording, right? If I'm assigning this macro here, right click assign the macro here. This is macro number 4. Now you can select any value. If anyone this value is greater than 50,000, it will be highlighted. This is greater than 50,000. This will be highlighted. If any value in the future, it will be greater than 50,000, for example, then also it will be highlighted. So this is a main difference between filtering and conditional formatting. When we are filtering of the data at that time, if any value is greater than 50,000, it will be showing that. But in the future, if the value will be changed, then it will be not show that. This is the main disadvantage of the filter. For example, if in this data we have to filter the 50,000 plus data, right? So this value is not first 50,000. We have to add it this 50,000. Only this value is filtering. If in this future, if this value is updating, adding this value, so this value is added in our list. If it is added in our list, then we can automatically change this value. You can see here, this is value is not greater than 50,000. If it is 50,000, then it is automatically highlighted. This option is not available in the filter part. This option is only available in the particularly conditional formatting part. So that is the main difference between the conditional formatting with the using of macros. So if any value is updated in the future, its value is highlighted. So make sure that this value is highlighted. For example, this cell's value is automatically using from conditional formatting. Now we apply the second type conditional formatting. It will be applied. Now we will use the same range from conditional apply. It will be also applied. For example, if I am doing the conditional formatting here, 724 to 3441, we have to apply this. No one value, we want to apply the second type. No one value it will be applicable. So if any value in the future it will be updated, the value is updated. Now make sure that if any one value is updated this value, so it will be updated from this side and automatically value it will be changed. So now make sure that this is a use of the conditional formatting with using of macro. So we have to clear idea about conditional formatting with the macro. If I am using conditional formatting with this macro, with the applicable of the particular this conditional formats, right? So now make sure that conditional formatting with the macro, we will be use this macro on the basis of the color formatting. So now we can add this color formatting, right? Now This is our data. For example, if I'm not applicable the border, here we will also data not applicable the border, right? There's two data. We have a two datas. No one data is particular have a border. So what can we do? We can applicable in the macro. So we can first check that value. This is macro number 5. We want to use the shortcut key. Otherwise, as no, otherwise as nothing. It's okay for that. Macro 5. Insert and home and all the border, right? Then apply this cursor here and stop recording. Right click, assign the macro number 5. Now it will be applicable here. So you can see here is not border applicable. Why? Because it will be applicable on the same position, same format. So if you want to use the same formatting here, at that moment we cannot use this value. So make sure that value is updated at that time. Border it will be given after the static value is the physical value. So make sure that it will be stored as a physical reference. You know about the physical reference and the relative reference. You can see that here is example of the relative reference. So you can use the both the way. Physical reference use this. You can use the physical reference at that time the same portion data is available. So you can use this formatting on this data also. So physical reference and relative reference, both the references available. Which one reference you have to use this? This is only for dependent on you. So make sure that which one reference is using. This is a more useful from your side. So physical reference, otherwise else we will use the relative reference, right? In this next macro, we have to use particularly use the we can say that this is a hide or unhide it only for one click. We have a lots of Excel sheet. Now we want to some Excel sheet is hide. On the basis of this hide, we have to clearing this value. For example, we want to create a hide unhide macro. This is called a hide. This is called a unhide value, right? View, record macro, macro number 6, and OK. Right click and hide. Right click and hide. This is right click and hide. This is right click and hide. So we have a lots of Excel sheet, hide and unhide on one places. This is hide the macro. Stop the recording. So right click, assign the macro, macro number 6, and OK. Macro number 7, right? Then stop recording. So now you can see here, this is height on the sheet, this is unheight on the sheet. So now this command is available in ASAP utility, friends, but you cannot use this ASAP utility in this value. So you can create your own macro. ASAP utility have a 350 macros. So with using of 350 macro, you can use the particular value. So you can create your own macro with using of ASAP utility. With the using of ASAP utility, ASAP utility have a 350 macro, so we can use this 350 macro in your relation. So we cannot create the macro at that time, but if we have not ASAP utility, so we can use the macro. On the basis of this macro, we have to hide or unhide the particular sheet. You can now see that the second time, hide the value. This is hide all the sheet. If it is unhide the value, we can unhide all the sheets, because we have a lot of Excel sheet here. So we have a confusion that, so we have created at that time particular macro. So all other Excel sheet is hidden. So we can have to clear idea about this Excel file. So we have to hide the particular sheet. On the basis of hide particular sheet, we have to clear idea about how to use this value and how to put out this value, hide or unhide this parameter. So make sure that we can use this parameter of the hide and unhide this value. Only one click we can have to hide this value, only one click we have to unhide this value. We have to use the free span, split the pan macro. With using of this macro, we have to put out this macro. We have to know about the macro shortcut key also. We have know about that. You have to know about that. Option is we have to clear it. Option is available. So we have to clear about this one. We have to hide and hide macro. So now we have to clear about this. We have two macros. We have to create two macros. Conditional formatting macros, some macros, and we want to use the hide and hide macro. We have to only one click to hide. So repeated times, if we want to use this functionality, so we can use this functionality on the repeated time. So make sure that we have to use this functionality. On the basis of this functionality, we will use the hide and unhide this value. So make sure that we have to hide and unhide the value. So only one click we have to hide, only one click we have to unhide this value. So make sure that we have to clear idea. So we have to clear idea about this one. So make sure that you have to hide the value and hide the value. So when we have to hide or unhide this value, we have to use this value. On the basis of this value, we have to particular hide or unhide the cells. So we have to do this hide and unhide this value. Right, friends? So now we want to go for the particular, you have to now the series functionality, date functionality, column functionality, you have to now clear on this. Go to spatial. In the go to spatial, you have to blanks row, presets value, conditional format, data validation object, all these values available. So now you have to clearing of this value. This is called as macro with conditional formatting, macro with height and height value. Now you can use the view macro. Sorry, for we want to create a record macro. Recording of macro, we want to use the new workbook. If I'm applicable new workbook, at that time, new workbook file is open and macro applicable from that file also, not for old file. For example, if I'm doing this new workbook, so new workbook is created and macro is starting. Here we will go for the tool Vitali. Start recording. and this is stop record, right? So macro, here we will write down the here we will write down the particular XYZ. So macro will be applicable from this value. This is called as new workbook. Application this workbook every time in new places. So we will applicate it from this workbook. So every time the macro applicable, the new workbook, new Excel sheet is open and macro is recording. If we will use this format on aging analysis, so we cannot use this value on the aging analysis. For example, in chart, and I will use the shape value. Right click, assign the macro number 8 and applicable from this side. And if I'm using this one, we can put out here and our data is particularly find out with this one. So make sure that you have to clear idea about the color formatting with using of macros. So we have to clearing about this one macro with color formatting. We want to use macro with the color formatting, so we have to applicable with macro with the color formatting. So if you want to use the macro with the color formatting, you can use the macro with the color formatting on the applicable of this value. We have to particularly this value with using of the particular file. So make sure that we have to clear idea about the particular value on this number. So now you have to clearly idea about this one and we have to clear idea particular file. So make sure that we have to clearing of this value. On the basis of this value, we have to clearing from this file PQR XYZ. So we have to highlighting this the value of the PQR and XYZ value. So we have to highlight this value. So make sure that we have to highlight this value. On the basis of highlight this value, this is create a new workbook. And if it is new workbook, is the new workbook is a clearing this value. Using this value, we have to clear idea. So now make sure that if you want to create a new workbook, new work new workbook, then you can use this particular new workbook file. So you can use this formatting also, number formatting, you can applicable this formatting also. So we have to clear idea about this one. So for example, if I'm writing out the date 12/12, if I'm writing here the date is 12/12/2021, and here is also date 12/12/06/2021. Then how we can applicable from the conditional formatting, sorry, with a macro from this side. Then we can go for the view, record macro number 9. It is used for data formatting also. So we have to go for the mode format and this data and okay. For example, this is value. Now we will stop recording. So we will applicable from this side also, right click, assign the macro 9 and okay. Here is a date. Now we will applicable here. So each format will be also applicable here. So we will store the one format and with the using of formatting, we can use this format also. So make sure that you have to clear idea about this one. We have to discuss the next video from the next line. So we have to go for the next video. Thank you, friends.